Hey, what's going on, people? Before we get started, I want to let everybody know I will be on screen tonight. I was going to give a little time for everybody to kind of file into the room and we could have this discussion. I'm very excited about having this discussion. It's actually something that came from our discussion or talk yesterday during the members only live stream. Uh, we are having a good time. I got a couple issues that I wanted to bring up, and we'll be doing those issues this week. Okay. So keep in mind that we will be changing the schedule a little bit moving forward because I want to try to get as many live streams in as possible. And I want to try to make them as accessible as possible. And when people can actually watch them. Hey, Lizzie B, what's going on? How you doing? Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic evening. I'm very excited to get started. We will be starting soon. I'm going to let the music play a little bit so we can let the room fill up a bit, and then we're going to get started. We're also going to do we're going to try to change things up because I'm changing the format of how I do my shows, especially because I'm not necessarily as centralized on Sister Wives. So I won't have like the Sunday night all me commentary, and then Tuesday call-in show, then Thursday speak pipe. So because we're doing things this way, we're kind of mixing things up. I'm going to start incorporating all elements into each show because we're covering different topics and issues. So for instance, if somebody calls in and leaves a speak pipe and they're commenting on a show that I did tonight and they leave a speak pipe on say tomorrow, then on the next show I'll play that speak pipe and we can discuss it. So it'll be a mixture of everything. With regard to the call-in, what I would like to try to do is we're going to do maybe one question or comment. Like, so if each one of the people who calls in has a question or a comment about the subject matter, we'll provide that question or comment. Then we'll put them back into the green room and bring somebody else up and so on and so forth. And we can rotate. So you're not necessarily getting, one shot, one done. But I want to try to get as many people in as possible because we're going to shoot for an hour, maybe an hour and a half for each one of these instead of doing like the marathon as 3, 4 hour, 5 hour lives. Okay. Just trying to make it a little more consumable for people who are actually interested in watching it. All right. So you know what? I'm feel a little frisky tonight. So we're going to play one of the other songs. Actually, I'll start with this one.
Could be watching chefs burn pots in the kitchen or influencers fake fights for attention. Drama queens with crowns, but no conviction. But now you're here, my addiction. Could've clicked that prank, that mukbang feast, or streams of gamers slaying beats. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me where you wanna be, out the algorithm, just you and me. Could be watching cats knock glasses down, or a dude trying to stunt stressed as a clown. DIY hacks turn smiles to frowns, but you're vibing here, no fakes around sound. This ain't unboxing or ASMR. No clickbait titles, no rented cars. Realest channel in your repertoire. Stay tuned, superstar. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me where you wanna be, out the algorithm, just you and me.
Well, folks, let's get it popping. Lizzie, I am just give me 2 seconds. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome and most amazing evening. I hope so. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Yes, I did get your email, Lizzie, and yes, I will be needing you guys' help because it'll just be a transition over to the other live channel. So it'll kind of fill in for this channel because the idea is that this channel will be mostly videos and the other channel is where I'll do the live streams. So yes, I'll be Needing you guys for that. The mega mod squad in the house coming in, saving my tail once again. Saving my bacon once again. They call me the Baconator. All right. So this, like I said yesterday, like I said earlier or previously, this 1 second. Okay. Kids downstairs cooking. You know what that's like. It's like I got my ears open. All of a sudden, fire. Like they gotta learn. They gotta learn. They gonna starve to death. You know what I mean? It's just scary though. Between your kids learning to drive and them learning to cook, holy crap. I don't know, man. And people ask, well, James, your hair used to be so thick and black. I had kids. That's all it is. I had kids. Right in my house. What's going on? Wendy, what's happening? Yeah, so yesterday we had some of these discussions during the members roundtable, and always a very interesting conversation. So I wanted to expand it to the group and find out what people think, you know, because it's one of the quiet things that, you know, folks kind of deal with, because the question usually when it comes to infidelity is usually would you do it, or what happens if your partner cheats on you, right? Not necessarily what happens or what should you do, or how do you do it? How do you see it if your friend, one of your partners, one of your homies is stepping out on their husband or their wife? Do you say something, or do you just sit back in the cut like, yeah, get it, playboy, get it, the young tenderonas, get it, playboy? Are you that person, or are you the person who runs back and be like, yo, don't kiss her in the mouth? You know what I mean? You gotta watch them. Keep that dog outside. Like, where are you at in that continuum? So I want to try to central down on that, and like I said, I'm gonna open it up for you guys to be able to make a comment. If the way I want to try to do it is, if you guys want to make a comment, just make a comment or question, and then I'll put you back into the green room, and then we'll cycle through so that everybody gets a chance, because we're not doing a long lives. We're probably gonna save those for Saturday, because those lives go super long, and you have more opportunity to be able to say what you want to say. Okay, Wendy jumps right out of the box, says, I wouldn't say anything because they'll just blame you as a messenger and not want to be your friend anymore. That's a distinct possibility. That is a distinct possibility. You might get jammed up, you know, because you go back and try and call yourself, I'm going to be the informer of truth. And you tell your friend the truth, and your friend don't want to hear the truth. Because that's the hard part too. Because there is a point of when you get bad news, you deny said bad news. You know, you look at it like, if I accept this is a bad thing, and I don't want to accept it. So it's easier for me in that situation, like if you're that person, to blame the person who's telling you the bad news than actually to deal with the bad news, because that's the reality of it. If you get this bad news, you have to deal with it at some point on some level. And some people, like, you know, quiet is kept. That's why I want to put this out there, because quiet is kept. Some people like to exist in ignorance. You know, some people don't want to hear the truth. Did I just get weird? Is my picture weird now? Guys, let me know. I think my picture's weird. I don't know why I did that. Okay, yeah, that's completely odd. We're gonna have to figure something else out. All right. So, anywho, let's kick into it. Looks like that's where we are. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I'd appreciate it. Just because, like I said, we're trying some new stuff, and as with anything that you do that's new, there will always be a struggle to change and become something different. All right. But like in the opening, let's talk about like just get it going. When push comes down to shove, the question I'm asking is, where do you personally draw the line when someone else's relationship crosses into your space? So whether we like it or not, we are judged by the people that we keep company with. And it may not be completely fair because you didn't specifically do it, or you weren't necessarily a part of it. But there is something to be said if a person does a thing and you're okay enough with that thing that you're able to continue the relationship and continue being around that person. And I think that's where some of the impact of this type of behavior comes in. So, in a general term, if we start from front to back, is it your business? Right? Is it your business? Like if your partner, if your buddy, your friend, your pal, your homie, your sis, or whatever is cheating on their spouse or their significant other, is it your business? Do you have to say something? Is it on you to be, rectify and justify the world? Are you the avenger of the world to bring morals and clarity and fidelity to relationships? Are you Captain Saver Joe? As a it's not usually what people say, but you know what I mean? Are you that person? Are you Mr. or Mrs. I'm gonna keep this, my name is Paul, that's between y'all. My name is Wes, I ain't in this mess. Right? And to like Wendy's point and people's point who pointed out yesterday, that's probably the most safest position to be in is to not take a position. So but even with that, whether it's your business or not, there are many different layers. And this is part of the reason why I enjoyed the conversation yesterday, because a lot of this came out. There are many different layers, and that could be based on your relationship with the person, your relationship with their significant other, how you guys get along, how they're being treated in the relationship, what their relationship looks like, what's going on, things of that nature. So we would be there would be I don't think that there's any right or wrong, say hard fast right or wrong answer as to whether you tell or don't tell or whether you come out and reveal it. What I do think is that you have to be consistent amongst yourself, right? Because I think when we start talking about this, we also have to start delving into differences, because there's a difference between knowing for sure, for positive, that that person is cheating versus suspecting that the person, your friend, is doing something wrong. Suspecting because you see, they always kind of hanging out with this person and they all of a sudden disappear together. Suspecting them saying, like, okay, let's go hang out. And then they show up with this person and they want to come hang out with you with this person. And you guys are, doing activities and they crawling all over each other. That's knowing. You understand what I mean? There's also a point of, a difference in you knowing, if we take it a step further, you knowing that they're cheating versus you actually helping to facilitate, lie, cover, and manage their ability to cheat. I think there's a significant difference in that as well. So I guess ultimately, do you believe in staying out of other people's relationships completely? And let me drop the call-in number. I'll drop it in a couple spaces. Here's Here's the link. Just hit that link. You can come right on up, and we'll go through the various questions and stuff. It'll be awesome. All right. So there's the link. And I appreciate everybody coming through. All right. So, Daisy Reyes, what did she have to say? I'm gonna mind my business, let them know what I think, but I won't get too judgmental unless they being messy as all get out. I can dig that. And unfortunately, I mean that's the safest way to play it sometimes, because you don't really know. Because this is one of the things we talked about yesterday, and I pointed out yesterday. You don't really know what people's relationship guidelines are. Things that are inappropriate when I'm in a relationship with somebody. Like, even if I'm dating one person to another person, right? Before I was married, obviously, but if I was dating one person to another person, I would actively have conversations with each person that I would date or talk to about what their parameters were as far as cheating. What do they consider cheating? Because what I found was everybody had differences, subtle differences and bars of where they drew the line at what cheating was, and we would have to negotiate. Obviously, if I didn't agree with it, then it is what it is. But if we could agree on it, then you just keep moving forward. But there was always a difference. So some people, it's if you're talking to somebody, if you talk to any women without me being present or knowing about it, then that's cheating. Some people. Other people, you could talk to people, you could text them, call them, FaceTime them. You could even light flirt with them. You could hug them. You could kiss them on the cheek and maybe on the mouth, quick peck, but not cheating. Other people, a lot further. So, what does their relationship look like? What are the parameters of their levels of infidelity? Also, we have to keep in mind some people have open relationships or agreements in their relationships where you'll sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe they're going out and oh my goodness, how are they treating Barbara? What is she gonna do? This is terrible. Barbara know full well what dude is doing. And she already gave him the green light, because what you don't know is Barbara's out there with Tom, Dick, and Harry doing scary stuff. You understand what I mean? Like, she doing all kinds of stuff. And hell, sometimes Barbara might be the one who told Tom that this is what she wanted to do. This is how we moving forward. Little fella, you know what I mean? So you don't know what's going on in people's relationships, and you coming forward trying to be the high and mighty one and expose it might actually turn them against you, because you might take it as judgment. They might take it as like you're trying to push rules on them or whatever. There might be a sense of embarrassment where they feel like you're trying to say things about them, and then let's be honest, and we don't even have to go that far. We're going to be all the way honest. Some people get cheated on, and no matter how many times they ass get cheated on, how many times they walk in on them, how many times they get a phone message, or they listening to their significant other talking on the phone to somebody, or whatever, they get told that their significant other is cheating, they never leave and nothing ever happens. They know full well, like, everybody is telling them that the dude is cheating on you like crazy. He can't stop himself. This dude, like, he take him like potato chips. Once he pops, he can't stop, and he doing what he doing. And you sit there and say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I can't leave him." And then where's that put me? Like, because especially if I'm the one that told you, and you go back and told him that I told you, right? Now you looking at me sideways and shit. And I got a problem. So I think that's part of it. But hold on one second. Let me just click through this. Thank you so much. Let's bring up Linda. Linda, what's going on?
Hey, happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy Sunday.
Um, so I caught this live by accident. I forgot you're still doing Sundays. Don't ask me why, but I've been so busy for the past 2 weeks. So anyway, I caught the theme and everything. So the only way you really need to tell is like, the group that I had, the people that that you grew up with, the people that you like know their relationships, if they have an open relationship, if you have it close. I have let my friends know some with their man has stepped out. Like that's just total girl code. And that's just
Mm.
I would tell them and let them know. And your man could come and say whatever, but I would tell him to his face because, you really can't let your friends be hurt like that. And one of my friends, she was pregnant, and I was like, it was like a group effort. Do we tell? Do we not? And my friends decided to have her husband confront my friend's husband confront the cheating partner and let
Right.
him know. If you do not, we're gonna let her know. But we were really fronting because, we didn't want to cause a miscarriage or anything, but just to put a stop to it, especially with the STDs. This is going back to when, AIDS was happening. This is,
Mhm.
it went from syphilis to AIDS, it went from worse to death. So, you just have to, like you said, you just really have to know your friends really well and what their relationship before you say anything. If they have an open relationship, well, of course you're not going to say anything.
Right.
But and I try not to judge. Like, some of my friends that they got married and they just thought they were the only married person in the world, and you get all crazy and googly. Like it was always coming from a place of safety for them and not judgment. It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to tell her, to bring her down. None of that mess. It was never messy like that. It was just really having your friends back, really honoring girl code. But in today's day and age, you just never know. I mean, with social media and people working, from home, or they still do their business trips, it's a slippery slope. So unless you really, really know that couple, unless they're really, really friends, you just need to shut your mouth.
Well, let me ask you this: if your friend was cheating, because that's where I was at. If your friend was cheating, would you tell on them?
I would tell my friends ass off. Now it would depend the relationship I had with the partner. Like if I was more friends with him than
Mhm.
with her, I would let him know. If the dude was related to me, I would let them know. But if it's just my friend, like my real friend, stepping out on her man, whatever, I would corner her and I
Okay.
would let her know what she's doing is wrong. Because my loyalty is to her, it's really not to him. But if you're looking at right is right and wrong is wrong, I don't
Mhm.
have a relationship with him. So what I tell him could go either way. He could come after her, he could forgive her, he could try to kill her. But if this is my homegirl, this is my friend, we're gonna have a sit down.
Okay. 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 All right. Well, what about do you think that this will impact your relationship? Like, because if you're with somebody, would you tell your significant other what's
I
going
was
on with
n-
your friend?
I was never with that. No. See, I'm the type of person. What you tell me, you tell me. No, no, no. And I had a friend like that, a good friend like that, and I had to tell her what I tell you. I tell you, it's not for you to share with your husband. I'm not with the news carrier thing. You could tell me something, and that goes to my grave.
Mhm.
None,
Okay.
no, none of that. Especially if it's cheating and things like that. Oh hell no, 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 no. That's when things could get messy because then if something happens in your relationship with your man, they'll bring that up and somehow you were a part of it. Oh no, 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 no. We're grown and we need to know how to keep our mouths shut. Like let's not put gasoline in the fire. No, 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 no.
All
I
right.
hate that.
So would you so if you kept that secret and your significant other found out about it, could they feel a certain kind of way, like maybe you're involved?
It well, first of all, it's not their business. So, okay, let's just say me and I don't know, your cousin are best friends.
Right.
She's stepping out on her man. I'm
Right.
going to tell her and tell her only. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell my man. Now, if he finds out, I would see. I never date. Well, let me not go there. I would just tell him that is not your business. That is not for you to say. So if we have a falling out, that's why I would never tell the man, because when people break up, your emotions get high and you start. If it's not a grown up breakup,
Mm-hmm.
people start acting stupid. And I don't like drama. I hate arguing. I hate fighting. That's just not my thing. As big of a mouth I have and how I speak my opinion, I hate arguing. I hate to see arguing among family, among close friends. That doesn't rock with me. So I do my best to keep everything calm and calm and collected. The less people know about it, the better it is.
So you see it more or less from the respect of, if you tell or you share this with your significant other, this could be the fuel for bridge burning if your relationship breaks down in the future. So they
Even
could,
that,
they
it,
could
it,
torch
it might
the
burn
world.
our bridges. Like, let's just say, I have this great relationship with my guy, and all of a sudden it turns to shit, and you know, maybe I broke up with him, and he's not happy with it. You know how people you find things to hurt each other.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, I'm not with it.
Okay. All right. I mean, makes sense. Makes sense. I'm not gonna well, because I think a lot of this is really, even though we'll have a conversation about it, people have opinions about it. I think for the most part, there are two factors that we have to focus on. One, everybody, Mike Tyson, everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the face. It's easy to, say what you would do in a situation when you're not in the situation. But so it requires like the actual application of the principle. But two, I think you really have to take a lot of different factors into consideration as you try to
Mhm.
navigate this. But I do want, like, per usual, I like to have the discussion so that way we at least start thinking about planning and what would happen if this were to happen, if we encountered the situation.
Yeah, and what I'm telling is like really all from experience. Like today, I wouldn't want to be a young woman dating in today's day and age.
Mm,
First of all, men aren't like men used to be. Um, there's all of this. It's like no one could be really honest and really engaging. It's like everyone is on eggshells, and what are your barriers? What is your space? Like nothing evolves naturally. Like you're coming into these relationships with almost like a toolbox of how you
mm,
want to build it, but you're not letting it flow. You're not letting it coalesce. You're not getting to know each other. Where if it's going to lead to something serious, you got your little toolbox of what you want, what are your goals. Like I've never tolerated cheating. I've never cheated in my life. I don't tolerate it. And cheating was really having any type of physical relation with another woman,
okay.
not just to peck on the cheek, someone you know, or your homegirl, or someone you grew up with. Thank God I was never the jealous type. Like some of my homegirls were not with that. But in today's day and age, with the DMing and the social media, and you could get on that computer and dating with them. And now it's changed. Now you have like the emotional cheating.
Right.
You have the betrayals, and I look at it and I'm like, all right, so they changed their mind about something insignificant, like I don't know, you they had said I'm gonna do my resume and do a job interview for job A, but then they decided that they wanted to change course and do B, and that's a fight. It's like there's just too much, I don't know, too much control.
Hmm.
Like it's crazy. Yeah, I would not want to be a young woman dating in this day and age.
Yeah, we just don't have it. I think it's just a matter of we, because I'm in the same situation. Like if I found myself newly single, I think that running around, especially as a young person, what they have to deal with, I just don't think I have the facility to do it. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like the way I was brought up and the way I kind of came into my own was completely different. Like you said, even with the DM stuff and like people contacting you, we didn't have those sources of communication,
Yep.
and it wasn't acceptable. So like if somebody like DM would be the equivalent of somebody passing you notes, you know.
Or the beepers. Remember, we were around for the beepers. Remember
Right.
that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Damn, we
right.
old.
Checking codes. You know, everybody got codes.
Oh my word. Yeah.
Yeah, you bring it back memories. Like you didn't have zip codes or area codes. You had beeper codes. Like somebody hit you with the certain numbers and certain
Yep.
words and stuff. You're like, oh, okay, I know what it is. Gotta go, fellas. Back some signal you out. You know, you're heading out. So yeah, those were the days. But you just didn't have like even then, like somebody, you know, if you had a young lady hitting your beeper, that would I guess would be the closest thing we had to DMs. But now,
Yes.
like the DMs are like full bore messages and full
Pictures and
bore
everything.
communications. Yeah, and they can get you the DMs, like even with the DMs and stuff, they can hit you with the DMs and not really know you. Like at least with the beeper, I had to give you my beeper number for you to hit my beeper.
Right,
But
right.
with the DM, like you're on social media and all of a sudden, like somebody sliding your thing and starts sending you messages and
Yep.
pictures and stuff. Like it's not really asked for, sought after, but you're kind of in a mess. So I see where
Yeah.
you're from.
And you know what? And you just it just brought a thought. Um, if you ever had to let a friend know, you know, that they were being cheated on, sometimes by their reaction, you would even know just how good of a friend they were. Because
Right.
this happened to my friend Brenda. She was really tight with this one girl. You know, we were in the group, we knew when, and you know, she saw like a full on makeout session or whatever. And I don't know if they were talking about getting engaged. And she let the girl know. And she totally freaked out on Brenda. It's not your business. Why did you tell me this, that, and the third? And like I
Mhm.
said, this is like during the time of, you know, you jumping from syphilis to AIDS. Like you
Right.
had to be so super careful. And it's just like, you know, I'm trying to save your life, girl.
Right.
You don't
Right.
know how far that's going. I'm letting you know, find out, you know, see what it is. Is it a fling before he decides to, you know, marry you or whatever? And yeah, so it's like you really need to know the person, and like cheating is cheating. You know, I'm not with it either
Right.
way. I'm just not, you know, because it's a betrayal, and that's the worst thing you could do to someone that you love is just betray them.
Right. Right. Well, thank you so much for calling in,
Okay,
Linda. I appreciate you.
all right.
Amazing
Y'all have a
phone
good
call.
evening.
You too. Awesome. Linda with the amazing phone call. Yeah, I mean, because just as a little reference, uh Linda and I probably are very close in age, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably more senior because Linda's young and spry. But the reality of it is that I remember the scare with because as she said, we went from like as a society and a culture, we went from being a repressive society to the sexual revolution. After the sexual revolution, things tampered down. It was still a little wild and frisky, like not the 60s, but in the 70s, but it was still, you know, people were still open for business, as we'll say. And you went from like general venereal diseases where you could be treated with a shot. You know, you get sick, you start, you know, peeing razor blades, you go down, get a shot, bang, bang, and then next thing you know, you fine and everything is good. Right? You back at work doing your thing, laying pipes and tilling hammers, right? But during the 80s, there was a huge shift because of the AIDS virus. And that thing scared the bejesus out of everybody because they didn't know what it was. Like now there's a lot more education, there's a lot more, there's treatment, you know, just you know, because early on, it was a literal death sentence. Like the way people looked at it was a death sentence. So people were horrified, they were scared as all get out. And when that happened, you know, there was always a thing of like who you like cheating and infidelity really becomes an issue because even beyond just the like the AIDS question or whatever, you're bringing something home when you're having an affair. That's just a real part of it. I mean, it's you know, no judgment if you out there doing your thing, do you freaking be dicky. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize and call it for what it is. When you go out and you open your family and you open your life, you're doing just that. You're opening yourself up and you're opening your family and you're exposing yourself and your family to another outside entity. So whether you make the person sick or not, or whatever the case may be, or you bring home a baby, which is a completely different thing, right? You're opening your relationship up to another person because even though you have, we like to think we can compartmentalize, that we can have a relationship with, oh, my relationship with my wife is just between me and my wife. But if I have a relationship with Barbara, Mary, Susan, Luchita, Bonita, Ingrid, or whoever, Consuela, or Shakira, Shaniqua, whoever, right? And I have those affairs that they have nothing to do with anything. Each one of those people that I'm messing with has a say in my relationship with my wife to a degree, as crazy as it is, because they would impact my relationship with my wife to a degree. So aside from, and I'm also exposing my wife because now these people could come in with opinions about me and my relationship with her. So there's things that have to be considered. Yeah, we have room on the line. Like I said, we're only going for about an hour and a half tonight. So if you guys want to call in real quick and drop one, that's cool. So I think that that's part of it. But as we talk about, like, your friends condoning it, and that also goes to a question too. If Linda wants to call back in and even respond to that, because what happens because there's a certain loyalty that you have to your friends, right? So is it loyal to your friends to keep quiet about the relationship and not tell, not tell on them? And then what happens if, like, you don't want to tell because you don't want to have the better responsibility of being the one to tell the relationship, but then you find out that they actually did catch something and brought it home, and you could have prevented it because you knew about it, or they get pregnant, and now things are wild on the outside. Here's Linda again. What's going on,
Wait,
Linda?
you called? You called?
Yeah.
Don't be the Linda and James show. Where my girls at? Daisy, call in. Local art witch. Come on. Where my girls at?
Right.
All right. So wait, give me the question again, because I heard my name.
So,
I was doing something. I heard my name. I'm like, wait, what?
right,
It
what do you
wasn't
think?
me. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Go ahead. Ask me, hon.
So what happens if you don't tell and they do bring home something to their significant other, make them sick, or they bring home a baby?
Well, that was always the fear.
Right.
So before AIDS, it was, be careful of syphilis, of things like. So at that time, we were group. Some girls wanted to do college and have careers. Some wanted to get married and have kids. And some of these diseases could leave a woman sterile or a
Right.
man sterile. So it was really the health fear, even more so than the embarrassment of being cheated on, because like a lot of these girls, a lot of girls I came up with, they weren't trying to have any intimate relationships because they didn't want to be labeled, how we were raised strict, but also a lot of them were raised independent, like, no one is going to leave a mark on me unless I'm sure. So when you come from being raised very strict or whatever, sometimes when you go out there, you go buck wild. I've
Hmm.
seen the men and the women go crazy. And then, I'm looking at this young man that had so much promise, but now got like two baby mamas. Or the woman, the young girl that could have gone on to med school, that was forced to get married because she got pregnant, or the girl that was the pariah because, she had a baby from some kid who was engaged or was going to get married. So, a lot of it really was not so much to be controlling as much as watching out for each other.
Right.
Like the cheating was an issue, like, but the big thing really was the health issue, and this is again before AIDS, but also the, you know just trying to make sure that you weren't clouding your future.
Mhm.
because we were raised, like we were I guess the first generation born here, from our parents and our grandparents who came from Puerto Rico. So like we were really the ones who were born here. Like, our grandparents came with our parents or our aunts and uncles or whatever. So it was always that pressure that you had to do better. You had to improve. And the way you carried yourself was how you represented, was indicative of your culture and how your family brought you up.
Right.
So you had that extra weight. But cheating had so much, like I saw that with my uncles and my grandma. So I let me tell you, that little 4 foot little dynamo, that little Mike Tyson, she wasn't having it.
Mhm.
My uncle cheated on my aunt with the woman next door. My grandmother had all three of them in the kitchen.
Mm.
My grandmother confronted her son and she let him know that that's not he was raised. Let the wife know, you know, do what you have to do, and let the woman next door know you are no longer welcome into this house.
Right. Right.
So I had severe examples on how to deal with betrayal, which, I was never in a position to do. Like I wouldn't do that with my friends, but my grandmother wasn't one. I mean, my uncle, so my favorite uncle, I had two uncles that were Vietnam War veterans, but my uncle Ray, that was the one who taught all the girls how to fight to protect themselves, and the boys, like he taught all of us, because racism was just as crazy as it is now. You have ICE dragging people off the street, but we had gangs like doing that to us. So,
Mm.
he taught us all how to fight, how to fight with a weapon. And I thought he was like so straight lace or whatever. I nearly dropped dead when he had the audacity to come into the house and bring the young lady who would be his new wife, for my grandmother, introduce her to my grandmother because he had planned on divorcing his wife.
Oh yeah.
So
Business.
how
Right.
the hell do you deal with that? My nosy ass was always around because like I was like a gnat in my grandmother's hair. Like that was the air that I breathed. So my grandmother immediately, like, she didn't know what to do. Like, usually she would have us out of adult conversations, but, I was a young woman by then. I was like 14. So she was like, you need to see how I'm going to handle, like, the look. And she led by example.
Mhm.
And she told the young lady, nice to meet you. She told my Uncle Ray, stop speaking, fed the girl, gave her something to drink, and said, okay, now you need to take her home and you don't bring her here again.
Right. Right.
And, my uncle continued that path. He did divorce my aunt. He married this young lady and, she popped out 6 kids after that.
Wow. Wow.
So, and
Yeah.
that was something that, and my grandmother used that as an example to not be the side chick, because the guy doesn't always divorce his wife to marry you. And look at how many kids she had to have to make sure that he stayed tethered, because that was the kind of man he was, right? Because he had young kids. Like, my other cousins, like I said, were like 14. I was 14. So my other, his other daughter, were 14. Maybe the younger one was maybe about 10. So they weren't babies. But my grandmother used that as a teaching point. Like cheating is never good, because look how he broke his wife's heart. Look how he broke his children's heart. Look how he broke the family. And look how he's starting another one. And these families might not ever reconcile. And here I am in the middle, but I'm not
Right.
allowing this. You have to do things the right way.
Right. Well,
So,
let me ask you this. Because like getting back to the point of, like, if they bring home something, because if it's an affair, there's a possibility, like we talked about somebody getting sick,
yeah,
there's a possibility that you could be undetected, because there are instances where you are asymptomatic.
absolutely.
You could have the full menu of of VD. You could have run the whole list, but
Hmm.
you don't display any symptoms, and you could pass that on to your significant other. And as mentioned, those symptoms or the fact that you have this disease and it goes untreated for so long because you're not displaying symptoms, you even though you're still passing it around,
Yeah,
you may find yourself in a situation where you could become barren or infertile. So
absolutely.
like I think that if we lean into that, does that increase any of your responsibility as far as telling?
Well, I think that would you when you say telling is like either you're stopping your friend or you're letting their partner know.
Right.
See, I've never let a partner know. I've always cut it at my friend, at the person that I had a relationship with. Now, thank God I was never in a situation where I knew both well. They were both friends. They were both, people that I honestly, truly cared about. But I did find myself in a pickle when I was in my first job, in my first hospital job.
Hmm.
I knew these two. I knew the young man first. So I knew the young man, and I thought he was cool, and I knew his partner. I barely knew the girl, shy, lovely young lady, and I came across his medical record, and I saw that he had, a communicable disease.
Oh.
But so the reason I was in a pickle is because the young woman had a child, not by him, by somebody else. I think she was, a divorced. And I was trying to find a way to tell her. And I didn't really know her. And I'm like, I didn't know people that knew him. But and I couldn't speak to him and say I knew your record or whatever. And we make plans and God laughs. So tell me how we're in a local store and she approached me. I forgot the reason why she approached me. I don't know if she wanted to ask something um medical. I don't know what it was, but I found a way to tell her, go to the doctor and get yourself checked and have blood works and make sure that there's nothing wrong with you. Like I honestly, I would lie if I would say I knew the exact conversation because I don't remember it. You just triggered a memory.
Hmm.
But I kind of found a way to tell because I couldn't, like, it was bothering my conscience. And now, mind you, I didn't know the young man he was like an acquaintance, but knew him from maybe one of the something, nothing important. But it
Right.
just, my conscience was killing me because this girl was a young mother. So if
Right.
something happened to her, where does her kid go? She was here without family. She
Hmm.
only had him. And I'm like, I knew there was no way he would have told her what he had.
Right. Right.
For whatever it is, I kind of knew. So in my mind, I'm like, I gotta find a way. And I just kind of segued that in. And I just prayed to God that she did follow up, that she did whatever. And I guess she did because I remember subsequently, throughout the years, I've seen them in the neighborhood. I've seen her child grow into a young man. But I just, there was just absolutely no way I could keep it quiet. I'm like, I could lose my job, I could get sued, but I had to do it in a way where there was just no way I was sitting on it. I couldn't do it.
Right. 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 Now I get you. But thank you so much for calling back.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Have a
So
good one.
somebody else called. Daisy's there. Come on, you give good convo. I can't see who else is on, but I saw Daisy and Local Arts. So y'all need to talk. Bye.
All right. All right. We have local art switch in the house. What's going on?
Hi, how are you?
Doing very well.
Good. So I agree it can get really messy getting involved.
Hmm.
I would want to I wouldn't I would sit on it longer than I should because that's my friend. But if they can't upkeep, especially if they're married, that
Right.
vow, and there's certain venereal STI type things that especially if she gets pregnant, like herpes, that's really, really bad for a fetus.
You're right.
Um, yeah, like life changing. They can have severe mental delays because of
Hmm.
herpes, right? So that would be a concern. And even if there wasn't illness, even if it wasn't about betrayal, like if none of us cared somehow, like it would be cool to be that cool. I'm not that cool, I'll be honest. Um, there's not a 0% chance that the person that if I'm the man in this situation and I'm cheating, Diane Downs would go after married men, and a she ended the lives of her children because she thought that this man would be more interested in her. Like, there's not a 0% chance that you'll get someone crazy. And um, wasn't there a show where they revealed that there was cheating? They had to cancel the show.
Oh, cheaters.
Yeah, didn't they go and end somebody? I don't remember the details, but like it's so dangerous when you get wrapped up in feelings and that high, like Chris Watts and
Mm.
yeah, because he got into a whole situation. Like there's so many layers to it, and it's such a deep betrayal of everything. Like you guys have probably seen a little bit of like uh, the show used to be called Try Guys, and Ned Fulmer was one of the 4 Try Guys, and his whole personality was talking about his wife. He was the wife guy, and
Mm.
come to find out he was cheating on his wife for at least 18 months with an employee. He went to clubs in New York. I don't know at what point you get that comfortable, right? To
Right.
go out in public. Did you see that thing where the CEO or something was at a
Coldplay concert. Yeah.
baseball? Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. He got
Like,
caught up. Yeah. And he
yeah,
tried to
you get
sue Coldplay
so
because he said that they ruined his life. Like, nah, bruh. Like,
you
you just
did
made
that.
bad decisions for yourself.
Yeah, like it comes to like I don't know what you need to tell yourself to be in a situation. Like I would try to assess it, especially if it's the woman cheating. Here's my sexism showing. I apologize, but if she's cheating, I'm going to assess how safe she is
Hmm.
before trying to find a way to let her partner know. And I would tell her, like, listen, I know, and he needs to know you have this amount of time to tell him, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know, like, I would feel really upset and anxious about it and like a bad friend, but I'm not sure what it says about this friend of mine if they're willing to cheat unless she's in this is see, here's where I'm problematic. If I'm friends with Mary Brown
Hmm.
and she's carrying on an affair on
Right.
her husband. This is so bad. I'm like, "You get it, girl."
So
Right?
you
Like,
would endorse and support and maybe even facilitate the affair if it was Mary Brown,
or somebody
downtown
like,
Mary Brown.
uh, maybe not that far, but I could see myself wanting to look the other way, right? Like,
Okay.
"Here's your terrible situation. I get that you don't feel like you can leave. Maybe there's ABUSE happening in some form. I do think there's healthier and better ways to deal with that problem."
Hmm.
I have found in my experience, and I apologize, but when women are preparing to leave a relationship, they will tend to enter into a new romantic, even if she hasn't done the do. She at
Right.
least has like a backup guy to go to. And maybe it's the culture I grew up in. Like I've never seen, especially like my elders, you have to have a man,
Hmm.
even if he doesn't do anything. He has to be there, right?
Right.
So I don't know how much that is part of that, but yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't completely disagree with Linda. I totally understand and desire that not my circus, not my monkeys,
Right.
but what's that saying? Not by my hand, but not by my own hand, but it's in my lap.
Right.
Like, and it, you know, I have to do something about it now. unfortunately.
Right.
Why y'all do this to me?
Pulling you in.
Yeah.
Pulling you in.
Yeah,
Well,
so thank you for listening. I'm gonna
no
go back
worries.
to
Thank
the
you for
regular
calling.
chat.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Yes, I was like, I don't have too much to say, but then I was thinking about the Diane Downs and Chris Watts and that, and I know that's really, really rare, but it's not zero. And we tend to get really messed up when it comes to romance. And wasn't Helen of Troy, wasn't a big old war done because of a beautiful woman, right? Like
Yeah.
people
A
will
lot of
do
people died
crazy
over the
things.
years. I mean, it speaks to the cultural importance of ladies, because you can go through the list and think of all the wars that have occurred over women throughout
Yeah.
time, but I can't name one that ever happened because the dude is fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like two ladies, like, I gotta have them in my life, and then we go into war, and then all of a sudden, hundreds of thousands of people are arming up and going to battle. Like, it's just not a thing. So yeah, just another thing for men to bear. Like, you guys have Mother's Day, you guys go out to fine restaurants. Father's Day, we cooking out for ourselves. It's just what it is.
That's your cross. I'm sorry.
Exactly. It's our lot in life. Oh well.
Well,
But thank
thank
you
you.
for calling
It's
in.
really
Appreciate
nice seeing your face again, by the way. I've missed
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
your
much.
happy face. Okay, everybody. I'll see you in chat.
All right. Awesomeness. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think Look Art Switch brings up a good point. And she also opens up another form of another level of the conversation. Because when we talk about like affairs and cheating, to be honest with you, I think affairs and cheating, the idea of it has been lessened and degraded to the point where people don't necessarily see danger, right? Because being a Gen X, I'm a Gen X baby. Being a Gen Xer, I distinctly remember, like I said before, there was a joke, you know, uh, guns don't kill people, husbands who come home early do. There was a whole thing where they like, there was you come home and you catch your husband, your wife in there, and you started clank, 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 and you could declare, you could go to trial and be like, I was temporarily insane. I lost my mind. I came in, saw her getting them back shots. I said, and people were going free or getting reduced sentences, crimes of passion, that kind of thing. But now it's at a point where it seems a lot more expected and accepted, and people have more of a lackadaisical attitude towards cheating. When you really think about it, though, and Linda touched on it, I think Local Art Switch touched on it. When you think about it, cheating isn't just, I'm gonna go out, have this activity, physical activity, and then I'm gonna come home and nothing of it. And if my wife finds out about it, it's just a conversation and discussion, and she'll be upset. Cheating, especially when you're an adult, I'm not talking about like in high school, grade school, middle school. I'm talking about when you're an adult. The prospect of an affair can be life altering. It could be life changing, because if you've committed and dedicated and poured your energy into a person and a life, you built a life with that person, for them to step out and betray that life can destroy that life. Right? Because at the same time, like, I can sit there and say, I might be able to forgive somebody for cheating, but can I? Is it something I can get past? And if I can't get past, like, if I can't trust you in a relationship, I can't be with you in that relationship. But one thing, since we're talking about friends, though, I think there's a difference between you knowing about it and you facilitating it. I do think there's a difference between those two things. Like, if you know that a person is cheating and you're just okay with it, that's one thing. If you're providing alibis, that's a whole different other ball of wax. Uh I like to think that if I had a friend who was cheating, I would take the position that, you know, I would talk to him about it. I've talked to friends about like, yo, man, you about to mess your whole situation up, bro. I've had that conversation with my friends. I don't really see a situation where I've necessarily run back and told their significant other, but I will give this caveat. I think that there is a difference between, because when we talk about it too, we also talk about it in a form of, oh, the person is cheating, they're stepping out. And there's a slight sense of, even though it's a completely irresponsible action, indeed, there's a slight sense of responsibility. They're doing the wrong thing the right way. They're not out just, doing whatever. But I think that there is a difference when the person whom you're even friends with are being reckless and they're talking to and dating people and interacting with people who are just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, we in the bar, we talking to people. It's a nice facility. You go down to the wrong side of town and try to pick people up by dumpsters and do your thing. Like, what is going on? And you're not protecting it. What are you doing? Like, I think that kind of brings in a different point. Overall, let's check the poll. Like, because I had a poll up. The poll said, have you ever known a friend was cheating? 33% of you said no. All right, you guys have those stalwart friends. And then 67% of you said yes. Well, in that poll. All right. For this last section, I wanted to do a different poll. Let me see where it is. Because I wrote it down. And no, I didn't. Apparently, I did not. Apparently, it did not take. Here's the question that I wanted to ask. And this will be the last section because, like I said, I only wanted to do about an hour and a half. So this will be the last section. All right. The impact and even in my conversation with Linda, I kind of brought it up. But is there an impact in your relationship? Like if your spouse or significant other found out that you were your friends are like you hanging out with a bunch of hoochie mamas, vagabonds, and scallywags, and your significant other found out that was the case, like it or not, it does reflect on you. And do you, as a significant other, like, would you allow or feel comfortable? Not allow, that's ridiculous. But do you feel comfortable with your significant other going out with people who are known for cheating on their people, like known cheaters? Like all their friends have extramarital affairs or side dudes or side women or whatever the case may be, side chicks. They all do that. And would you feel comfortable with your significant other going out with those people? And I think that partly plays a thing where, like I said, the whole thing with 8mm, when you dance with the devil, you don't change the devil changes you. So if you hang around people long enough, eventually they start to augment or change your perspective. There's another old saying, if you sit in a barbershop long enough, you're going to get your hair cut. So if you're hanging out with these people who are cheating or betraying their relationships, is there a possibility that you may find yourself in a situation where you may betray your relationship as well, or they may betray your relationship? Because because we also have to keep in mind too that if they're cheating and they don't respect their relationships, they probably don't respect your relationship. And they, the same way they're out doing their thing, they're going to encourage your people to why don't you partake? So, it's just one of those things that I was thinking about. And if you, like Linda was saying, that she would keep it to herself because she's a vault. And if her friend told her, or she found out her friend was cheating, she wouldn't tell her significant other. If that significant other found out, could they potentially take it as, wow, that's a secret between us? Raiders Ma actually, said that yesterday. She said she had not to put people business out in the street. I think this is okay though. Said she had a person she knew who was cheating, and she went back and told her husband, and they had a whole conversation because the husband was friends with the woman's significant other, the woman who was cheating, the significant other. So Raiders Ma's husband was friends with him, and to avoid any bullshit, she went back and told her husband, which I understand that position too, because I think that it's a way for you to trigger any future booby traps. Like, you're not walking into anything because you now know something, and then that when it blows up, because when things come to the light, they tend to drag everything with them. And then who knew what, when, where, and how, and all that other stuff. When that comes out, if I was keeping that a secret from my wife, or in Raiders Ma's case, she's keeping that a secret from her husband, and she knew that this thing was a fact, and she knew what was going on, that could create tension or problems between her and her relationship. And that's where, like, sometimes, like I said, nothing happens in a bubble, and nothing happens on an island. You can be impacted by the actions or conduct of your friends in your relationship. Like for my wife, I could see if I was hanging out with a bunch of people who were cheating on their significant others, my wife would probably wonder if I'm doing it too. Because otherwise, what do you guys have in common? Like, you go out to the bar together, you go hang out, and you guys do stuff together. When they're out actively trying to find people to cheat with, what are you doing? You understand what I mean? Are you just standing around holding coats, or are you the draw? Are you the one that's sitting there chatting everybody up and cracking jokes and shit, pulling people in for them to fish in a barrel? What is your role in this little agreement that you have? Like, I just think that it's one of those subject matters. Just say, I'll be side-eyeing my man too if his bestie was a cheater. Yeah, because it'll always, I think that's one of the things. It'll always kind of come up as a question. Because if you going along with it, because there has to be a certain level of acceptance, right? And so if you're going along with it, you accept it, and you're going along with it, then are you okay with it? And if you're okay with cheating, then are you also open to cheating? And that's where it kind of reflects back on you, I think. Okay, Erica Mosley said, we're all, I guess we're all sinners, so I'll be minding my business. Black Swan Gothic in the house. Yep, there it is. None said it. Yeah, none said it. If you hang with cheater, it means you accept the behavior. Yeah, especially, well, because that's the thing too. Because I think that if your friend is cheating and you know about it, but you're not doing anything to help or support it or whatever the case may be, it's just something that may have like come to your attention that this is something they're doing. But they don't bring the people around. You don't interact with the other person or whatever. This is still your friend, but you don't have anything to do with their affair. I think that's a little different than if you guys are like, you guys organize the girls' night out, and you guys start off with the girls there, and then all of a sudden dude shows up, and then she goes off with the dude, right? Yeah. you're at that point, you're kind of in it, and you're accepting that relationship, and you're accepting everything that comes along with it. And I think that is where it gets a little more complicated, because you're look if the significant other finds out about it, he's, you basically are holding court, like you there, doing it too, like you're a part of it, and that level of involvement, I think, creates a problem. Oh, swingers, okay. Oh, Erica says we swingers, so I'm mind my business. Yeah, and that's why I say sometimes you don't, before you make judgment calls on other people's relationships, you got to understand what their relationships boundaries and red lines are. Because what's acceptable in your relationship or unacceptable in your relationship may be completely acceptable in their relationships. And again, yeah, I can see like the depth and breadth of like how long you've been friends, how long you guys all been hanging out and doing things together. I think that plays a part in it. I do. I think that plays a part in it. How involved do you really want to be in this other person's situation? I think that plays a part in it. I personally, like, if you're going to do dirt, I personally would rather not be involved with your dirt. That's me. Because when it gets messy, like I ideally, if my friend was cheating, ideally, when their wife or their, husband finds out that this is what they've been doing and they confront them, I want to be the one sitting there with one of the people sitting there with the surprise shock face. I want to be, what? What was they doing? Oh my goodness. I want to be that person, right? I don't want to be, yeah, you got him. I knew the whole time. I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? Because then I'm a part of it. And I certainly don't want to be in a situation where I'm having to create alibis or lies or excuses or compromising my integrity. There's also a point too, and I'm going to kind of wrap it up on this, where if you're too good at it, that could also be a source of concern for your significant other. Like if your friend is cheating and you are really good at lying to their significant other and covering for their significant other, and your significant other is sitting there watching you do it, like, full on well she wasn't over here or he wasn't over here with us. And you straight faced, without hesitation, lied to that other person. That shows your people that you have the capacity, that you could be doing it too. So that's what I mean. Like there are ripple effects to it. Let me see. Yeah, I think that I'll end it there. Let me do the poll. Let's just check the poll. Did the poll go through? Yeah, here it is. Okay, the poll came through. Would you side-eye your partner if their friend is a known cheater? 12% of you said no. 35% of you said depends. 53% of you said yes. Yes. So the winner is, would you side-eye your partner if their friend is a known cheater? Yes, I would side-eye their ass, because birds of a feather flocks together. So, yeah, I just, it's just some things to think about. And I would just encourage folks who are thinking about stepping out. And this is the last part I want to do. Before we close out, let's do hearts in the chat. I want to get some hearts in the chat for people who may be struggling, finding things a little difficult, especially in these financially difficult times. Shit is tight. Money is crazy. All right. It is nuts out here. And then folks going to war, like a base just got bombed, and like some people lost their lives or were seriously injured over in the Middle East. So, hearts out for those folks and people, their families. This is a part where, like I said, we may or may not know what other people in the chat are going through. So I just want to give them some support. I also want to make sure that we're taking care of the people who in our group have shared that they have some things going on and they just want to get some support and some love. So for those individuals, we have Jody Periscala, Carmel Cuties, Megatron, Miss Betty, Kathy Ferran, Allison Gaines, Marlo Peterson, and team in the house, Ty and Lip Mom. So let's put some hearts in the chat for all those individuals and for everybody who needs that support. And per usual, even by Carmel Cuties reminding of us, we have to keep in mind to ask our strong friends if they need help or where they are. Just go to them and ask them how they're doing with things, because the strong people also need our support to make sure that they're okay. The people who support us need to feel supported as well. So thank you guys so much for that. But in closing, I think that overall cheating is one of those things that can tear away from your relationship. It can tear away from another person's self-esteem. When you know you're thinking that the relationship is great, is going awesome, and somebody steps out and does that and betrays you, that sense of betrayal isn't just because you've been cheated on. It's also a question that you may have of how well the relationship was going. You thought everything was good. Your assessment was completely wrong. And now what do you go from that? Because do you trust yourself? It's not just the loss of trust in another person. It's the loss of trust that you have for yourself. So I think that that's one thing that where it can be very damaging. As I talked about with Linda, there's also the physical part of it where you can bring home a child. You could bring home a venereal disease. In some cases, those diseases may be asymptomatic, meaning that you don't display any symptoms. And you may think that you're fine. You got away with it and everything is cool. And you could very well pass that on to your significant other. And it could cause long-term health crises, as well as potentially something more permanent. So we have to be very careful. But when it comes to our friends and people we associate with, we always want to be mindful that in order to be loyal to people and friends with people, we also have to be loyal to ourselves and making sure that we're representing ourselves in the way we want to be represented, and also that we're not compromising our own integrity and beliefs. If you are not down with the foolishness, make it known to your friends or whatever that you're not down with the foolishness. You won't be participating in it. If they can conduct themselves however they want to conduct themselves, but you just leave me out of it. Right. And I think that to a degree, even as going through some of the previous statements, I think that that's actually the smartest way to do it. Just stay the hell out of it in some cases, most cases, because if I'm in it and I'm involved, then I'm involved. So do I tell? Do I not tell? That becomes the actual question. If I'm not involved, I don't have anything to do with it. It's not my place to run and do a whole bunch of stuff. Keep it secret for me too. Right. I don't know. But these are things that I was thinking about. We'll be doing shows similar to this moving forward. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your time. Linda and Local Art Switch, thank you guys for calling in. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody hanging out and giving the channel a try. I'm going to try to do this, and I think I'll be able to do more lives, more effective lives, by keeping it a little shorter and not running it as long. And it also makes it a little easier for folks on a rewatch. All right. I'm going to let you guys go now, and I want you to have a fantastic evening. We're just giving something to talk about, something to think about on My Take on Reality. Thank you guys so much. I want to give a shout out to Lizzie B. holding it down for me, and I'll reach out to you on an email, Lizzie. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you so much, as well as Carmel Cuties and Brittany Not Brittany. All right. Thank you guys so much. That's my take. I'm James, and this has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.